All right, this question is something that probably does have an easy answer, but if you want to think about it, you can think about it. And I've thought about it, and I'm gonna give y'all an answer to who had the most impact on the story: Future Gohan or Bardock. Let's start with Future Gohan. So Future Gohan is what? A bitch. No, I'm joking. He's just a guy that has one too many limbs right now. So when we first meet Future Gohan, obviously, we see him in the history of Trunks. I don't think he's really ever shown. I don't think he's shown at all in the actual manga, the original run of Dragon Ball. I don't think he's actually depicted in the manga. He's just talked about, if I'm not mistaken. You can fact check me on that. But either way, obviously, Future Gohan is from the future, and the future with Trunks, where the androids have basically killed off everybody, and he's fighting to save his timeline. Now, Future Gohan doesn't really do anything himself that impacts the story, like anything directly, but because of his demise, he makes an impression on Trunks, and basically provokes him to change his history, right? And without his demise, Trunks Trunks and Gohan probably could have came up with another way to beat the androids. Me personally, I don't think that would have been the case. But if we're talking about impact and what Future Gohan did is to the story, like if he would have stayed alive, there's no telling if Bulma would have still made that time machine. Fact check me on that too. I don't remember when she started making it, but there's no telling if she would have even made it, because there could have been a possibility that they came up with a way to defeat the androids. But I personally don't think so. However, as far as impact goes, since we do know what happened, his demise, caused for Trunks to go to the future, get stronger, get his revenge, and try to prevent, everything that happened, which he did do. So it did impact the story. Now, this is the greatest photo to ever touch media outlets across the globe. Uh, this this is just peak, and I really like Bardock, even though he's not really also in the manga. But I think personally he had more impact because of how Frieza viewed the Saiyan race and how that depicts the first half of the Dragon Ball Z story. Or okay, so I'm sorry, I say first half of Dragon Ball Z story, but technically Dragon Ball is all continuous from when Goku's a kid to the end of the Majin Buu saga. So the first two sagas, as far as the story goes, I think Bardock had indirect impact on how the story played out. So in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't mean too much, but when you think about it, it's like Frieza obviously was afraid of the Saiyans rebelling and them, potentially overthrowing them and overall the Super Saiyan legend, right? Bardock is the first inkling that Frieza visually sees himself that we know of in the context of Dragon Ball, to where a Saiyan has rebelled to this extent. And he recognizes Goku because of his father, obviously because they look alike, but Goku is a Saiyan rebelling him as well. And, potentially going to fulfill or ends up fulfilling that Super Saiyan legend that he fears so much, that has caused all of this, this trauma, from his history to, his brother Raditz. All of that stuff is, motion by Frieza to do because he wants the Dragon Balls to become immortal, obviously to be, ruling forever, but to also have no one oppose him, especially the Saiyans. So basically, if you get where I'm coming from, I'm trying to say Bardock indirectly caused for Frieza to commit to killing off the Saiyans, and indirectly caused for the Super Saiyan legend to come true. Uh, him coming up to Frieza in the end and trying to defeat him really solidified the fact that Frieza needed to get rid of the Saiyans, which ultimately led to Goku's fate of becoming that Super Saiyan, becoming that rebellious Saiyan, and indirectly achieving the dream that his father tried to do in his last moments. But if you look at it point blank value, I don't think you can really argue that Future Gohan is more impactful than Bardock. I mean, Bardock obviously gave birth to Goku, who, I'm sorry, not gave birth. He is the father of Goku, who Goku is the father of Gohan. So without Bardock, there's no Gohan. But if you just look at the terms of the story, point blank period, Future Gohan had more of an impact. But I like the idea that Bardock indirectly did cause more for the lore of the story overall. Let me know what you think.